What's going on, guys? Agent Psycho here. Welcome back to another video, and in today's video I'm going to be doing something very different. Probably the most detailed thing I've ever done in my entire career on YouTube, and that has been, an interesting ride. So what I'm going to be doing today is a full analysis of Parrot World's character design, and I'm going to be applying a system that I've created on what makes a good character design. Why do I think that Parrot World has a good character design, and what are all the things that have gone into that design? And the reasoning why I have done this video is because if you don't know anything about me, I'm an aspiring character artist, so I think it's a really good process for myself to kind of learn these things and research all the details which go into it, and it shows that, to myself, that I can break these things down and I know my stuff. And also, I'm, I'm very passionate about this game, and I think it'd be a great chance for some discussion and also other character artists. I've said from the start of this channel I want to be educational, and I want to show more of my passion through these videos rather than just, boom, news content. I want to kind of show there's a bit more to me, and I can be educational and also kind of reach out to other people like you guys who are interested in character design, and also just people who watch my videos for my opinion, because there you go. So, without further ado, this is the intro finished, and let's start breaking down these characters, shall we? This is what I like to call PALC: purpose, art style, reference, lore, colour. And I'm pretty sure any character you have, from any games, TV, film, all this can be applied to. Purpose, art style, reference, lore, colour. So let's start with what the first one is. What do I mean by purpose? What is the purpose of your character? What are they supposed to do? Are they supposed to be an engineer? Are they supposed to be a pirate? Are they supposed to be a shopkeeper? Is that their purpose? Is their purpose in your game to make the world feel a lot more alive? So they're like a villager, or they're like a knight, a guard. Someone who doesn't have much dialogue, but their purpose is just to make the world feel more alive. Or, like I said, a shopkeeper. They sell you items. That is their purpose. That is their function. You interact with them to give you. And I think that's a very important thing, and very much influences the entire design itself. Now, art style. I think this one's a bit self-explanatory. What is the art style? Is it based off Steven Universe? Is it based off another cartoon? Is it based off the cute genre? Is it based off the horror genre? Is it based off chibi? Is it based off anime? Is it based off community feedback? Is it, it's shaped by the entire community where, like Party Parrot, the designs have been shaped and the entire art style has been shaped from votes on Twitter, where maybe a different eye style, or a different mouth style, a different body style, a different hand style, and that's all, being changed from feedback, and that has influenced the end result. And of course, art style is all about inspiration, very important. And once you have your art style, could be your own, but it's what I like to call a mashup, because everyone's art style is a mashup from everything you've seen as a kid to an adult. It's always changing. So yeah. Reference. What are you using as reference to your character? So it might be. This comes back to the inspiration thing. Is it, a cartoon you watched as a kid? Is that what you're using as your reference? Is your reference a fruit? Is it the shape of a fruit, and that is the shape you're using as your character's body proportions? It can be as simple as that. Maybe, I don't know, a mug. A mug we drink out of. Is that what your reference is for what your character is going to look like? Is it a character for what a prop design is going to look like, which could also be part of your character? You know, reference is very important in creating a character in any sort of art form, and I think it's very important because what you use a reference will very heavily imply what that end result will look like. A reference is like the brain behind everything, I would say, because if you're looking at something very cartoony, if that's all your reference, so all your reference is the same sort of art style, most likely the end product of what your character looks like in terms of that drawing or that model even, it's going to end up looking like that, that cartoon, because that's what you're referring to, right? Now, lore. Lore, what I mean by this is what part of their design implicates their story. So, for example, a scar. A scar indicates some sort of past trauma where they've been cut as a kid. Maybe was it during a fight scene with a big boss or a villain, or was it because they fell over? Was it a history of abuse or something like that? Obviously, in terms of Parrot World, I don't think they'll quite be that because it's a family-friendly game. But there is these signs of trauma which indicates for that thing. Some sort of damage mark. Maybe it's they live in a fiery environment, so their clothes are a bit scorched, which indicates they live in or near fire. Or maybe they deal with a lot of fire, like a blacksmith. Maybe the furnace, it's burnt, it's caught fire, the sparks. That's lore. Colour. So important. You can draw a sketch, it can look amazing, but a colour can completely change the entire drawing. You can have the exact same sketch, the exact same line art, hire two artists, and they'll colour it differently. It's not the same drawing. And you're like, what? How? It is literally the same outline, but two different artists doing a different colour style, and it completely changes the character. And I stick by this, and it's so important. So, colour is colour theory, basically. Certain colours are attached to different subgenres, or genres even, or themes, whatever you want to call it. Like light blue is typically in film and TV and games seen as futuristic. Like the Arkham games with Batman, all this technology and your UI interface is all light blue to show that Bruce Wayne is a technologically advanced billionaire who uses technology. Compared to when you use a different character, it will be a complete different to indicate something else. Good indication of this is the Fallout games. It uses a dark green thing, and dark green is normally associated with quite retro, quite old, quite, Fallout, that nuke town, old retro technology. So all these things, I think, and you can even make your own things like this. I think what Parrot World does is it uses colour to match the elements, which we'll get onto later in this video. But that is what PALC is. And I'm going to pause for a minute. I recommend you to pause just for 1 minute or longer, and just look at any character you want. And this is a little exercise for you guys at home. Look at any character you want and try and apply a PALC to it. And you can even leave that in the comments down below, and tell me how you put PALC into it. Maybe there's more you want to add to PALC, but tell me. It's a nice little exercise to break down those characters if you want to get into character design or just learn a bit more. It's a nice little fun thing to do. So I'm going to let you pause. You back? You ready? Okay. So I think it's time for the next section. Purpose. Now, we're going to be using Commander Chrono here, the amazing Commander Chrono, for purpose. So we're going to read this out real quick. Supporting crew for the airship and often the hero of the story. Saving Clockwatcher but not getting any of the credit. Meticulous and detailed, keeping track of things and saving Clockwatcher from himself most of the time. So right away we have the purpose. The purpose is set right down. Her purpose is to support the crew for the airship. That is her whole purpose. Her purpose is to be the kind of hero of the story of Captain Clockwatcher's crew. So we've already got that straight away, just from literally about the first line. It's just supporting crew for the airship and often the hero of the story. That is the purpose. And doesn't get any credit, meticulous in detail. And then here we go, purpose again, keeping track of things. So Commander Chrono's purpose is keeping track of everything and keeping everything organized, while also being this sort of rescue character, which again, this relates to a lot of games like Overwatch. You have your support characters, right? This is what Commander Chrono is. Commander Chrono, she would be a support character. Now moving on to art style. Now, like I said earlier, art style is very much it can be from your favorite cartoon, cute, anything, right? It can be whatever. And I made sure to mention at the end, the art style can be from community feedback. So that's how Club Party Parrot's art style was developed. Like, if you look right here, this was the original design. I think it was the first ever design by Chile for what essentially Club Party Parrot was gonna look like, which is very vastly different from what the design we all know and love right now. Doesn't have those black beady eyes, because I think the original intention was to look exactly like a kakapo with those small black beady eyes, but it very vastly changed to something which we can see in the stoats over here with the a lot more kind of circular eyes, which are a lot more sort of cartoony and a lot more opportunity for expression, and that is kind of where the art style comes from. It was just community feedback, tons and tons of votes of, I think it should look like this, I think it should look like this, here's my feedback, you know? So moving on to reference. Reference, the one thing art teachers hate because it's apparently cheating. But in this case, the main reference for Parrot World is, of course, a kakapo. That is the whole goal of the game. The goal of the game is to spread awareness for kakapo, which are an endangered species. So we've got that set right down, and you can see right at the bottom there. An old design. Your own work can be your own reference. You know, when we're redesigning a character, what are you doing? You are referencing an old design to remaster it, to change it. So right here, as we can see, we obviously used the old design as a reference and changed it up, right? And our third one on the list here is Club Penguin. Of course, Polo has said this himself. The game is 80% new, 20% comfort. And we want those similarities to Club Penguin, because that is what people remember. This is what where most of the fan base have come from, trying to find a new home, right? And the great thing about the Club Penguin design was it was so simple and so expressive and very easy to draw, which for a kid's game is amazing. You know, a character which is not complex, it's a nice easy design where kids can draw it essentially, and their imagination can run wild. And I think that's been very well executed over into the Party Parrot World design. So we can see here that the Party Parrot World design is more of an egg, while the penguin design is more of like a pear or an avocado. So yeah, it's a reference to another game and that sort of cuteness, cartoonish likeness. And last but not least, the rule of cuteness. So talking about pear shape, if you read the notes on here, typically if we look at every character what is listed on there, they all have a pear shape as a base, right? And if we look at the Party Parrot design, it basically has that pear shape. Yes, it's been turned into an egg, but what it is a slightly different design. And that curve, like we see on the penguin, is just a lot more in. It's still a pear shape. Just because if you look where the gaps are with the arms, if the lines were to be connected to there, it would still have that curve, but it just wouldn't be as prominent. You know, so I think a very key thing is this photo right here, which is an amazing thing for making a cute character, which Party Parrot World is trying to do. Parrot World is trying to look cute. It's trying to be family friendly and cater to kids. And yes, it's been turned into a 3D model, which, one thing I want to say, brilliant job to the 3D team who've perfectly translated that cuteness over into that 3D model. But for a kids game, you typically want your little bird or character to be cute because you're catering to kids. You know, you don't want it to be gory. You want it to be nice and cute and a nice chill sort of game. This will, very heavily inflict what the entire game will be seen as. Now, moving on to the next section, which is lore. Oh, my favourite section of PALC. Because if you don't know me, I've mentioned in past videos, I am a sucker for lore. And lore is such an important thing to a character, and which makes a character actually interesting. Like, if a character doesn't have lore, I don't care about it. It's not interesting to me. Because lore is just everything, So as we can see right here, we've got all of Clockwatcher's team here, which I can't remember all their names. But we have got Commander Chrono, who has got her work can be dangerous, and she has scar/blemishes from past experiences. As I was talking about earlier, past experiences indicates trauma. So she's got a scar or blemish from her past work, which might have been an adventure into the future. It might have been repairing something, as Commander Chrono has a screwdriver, which indicates she's more of a repair. She's got these goggles, which I suppose she welds. She has some sort of mechanic or engineer background, and that's indicated. It's never been said about this, but we can tell from that screwdriver on her belt. So it's these designs which, very key thing. You need to make sure you do this when designing a character. Then moving on to Captain Clockwatcher. His primary time watch is fashioned like a giant pocket watch, much fancier than the time watch of his peers, engraved with a symbol of significance to him. The pocket watch, right here, it's engraved with a symbol of significance to him, which indicates lore. Why is that symbol? Is that something from his childhood? Is that something from when he first joined the sort of academy to train to be an adventurer? I don't know. Is it maybe someone who he lost in another time? Because they're time travelers. Maybe someone who he loved, he lost in another time, and that reminds him of that person. Or an old friend who he can't see anymore from a different time. All these things is indicated just by an engraved with a symbol of a significance to him. Why is it a significance to him? And moving on to the last one is the head of the PSA, the boss of both Clockwatcher and Chrono, injured in the future on an adventure with Captain Clockwatcher. As you can see, she has a robotic arm and was injured on the future and an adventure again. Again, trauma to the skin, trauma to herself. She was attacked. She was in some sort of fight. So why injured on an adventure? She had her entire arm replaced, her entire wing, I should probably say, in terms of parrots. And she's now got a robotic arm, which makes her look, one, really cool, but it also explains and that lore and gives more narrative down the line. If there are missions planned at some point, or if there are a party, or there is like a hidden book, or some sort of way to showcase lore of characters, this is someone you can dive back on, and you can follow the story along as they go into the future in throwbacks to where she damaged her arm. Does this arm give her advantages? How does this arm sadden her that she's, got this? And it also, I think, definitely kind of increases awareness for amputee victims in real life. People who play the game, I think that's a very big theme of the game, is to spread awareness for people who are disabled, and I think this is a great way to kind of make a very important character the boss of people, who is I cut out the rest of the X here, but it says she looks after the team. She's the one in charge. She is the bright one, she is what keeps everything together. And she's, using, despite this past trauma of going into the future and having a literal entire wing damaged and lost, essentially cut off, she still manages to get on with life, and it is an inspiration for amputees, I suppose. But yeah, moving on to colour. So, colour is a very important thing. And if I just read this description real quick. Parrot World uses an element system. And within this universe, when a Kakapo is born, the colour represents what element they belong to. A theory of mine. To a lot like a star sign, essentially. If you're a Gemini, whatever. So, as we can see from the Clockwatcher's crew, blue equates to water, red is fire, and purple is earth. And there's different colours as well. There's loads of colours in this world. Which I assume all have some sort of elemental meaning. Yeah. So there'll be ones probably more about nature. There'll be ones probably about, I don't know, night, darkness, stuff like that. But yeah, essentially Parrot World uses colour, as you can see, to match certain personalities to parrots by using elements. So, Colonel Chrono, I think her name was, she uses blue because she's a lot more kind of tranquil, She's a bit like the water, very relaxing, and she's quite laid back. She's quite humble, but she's also quite unstable, I suppose, because like water, it's not just still, is it? Yes, it's relaxing, but it's constantly moving, and it can always change when the tide comes in, when the tide goes out. So there's a lot of interesting interpretations there. And yeah, Captain Clockwatcher red is fire because he's very selfish. He's very full of quite anger, I suppose, and he sees himself as God's gift. So red is a lot more selfish, a bit like turning, no, not turning red, Inside Out. Red is also anger, and he's also he's like, I'm in charge, And then, I can never remember her name, but purple is like earth, so she's a lot more at peace, she's a lot more in control of everything, like meditation, which earth is normally quite associated with. So she's quite got that peace in mind, and she's got she's perfect for that leadership sort of role. So yeah, that's essentially how I think that colour plays a very important part here, and a very smart way about doing it, because it's been done for years now, essentially, in terms of media art forms on matching colours to personality. It's just been done in different ways, I suppose. Like turning red is one, where a red panda, because she's quite angry, as this panda, she's got more frustrated. And Inside Out, like I've already mentioned, this game, and other ones as well. So there you go. So we'll be moving on to the last section now, silhouette, which I should have probably really put on the end of this whole anagram, but there you go. You can add it yourself if you wish. But yeah, we'll be going on to that now. Okay, so what exactly is a silhouette, and how is it important to a design, you might be asking? Well, if you search up basically any video, as someone who would want to go into character design would, on tips for character design, they will always mention silhouette, which, again, still asking myself why I didn't add it to the word. It should really be PALC, but you can add it in your own head. But yeah, silhouette is very important because it helps with readability. And I know a lot of character artists, design flows, they actually start with a silhouette. Some artists do actually start with a silhouette, and then once they have a silhouette they like, they actually create the character from that shape. As you can see, like this black shape right here. And Parrot World has a very good silhouette, I would say. It's got a very recognisable egg shape right in the centre. It's got these two little wings coming off the sides, which are kind of like the corner of a semicircle, or a circle even. You could even see it as a semicircle right through the middle if you really wanted to. But you've also got the little feet down at the bottom, which are like little spiky little, plants. Maybe like Maggie Simpson's head. But I think it has a very nice kind of silhouette, which I think a lot of characters could probably be formed from that silhouette, actually. But it's very important to have a good readability through those shapes and those nice primitive shapes, because it means it's not too busy, Like Mickey Mouse, for example, he has very high praise for his silhouette because he has a very recognizable silhouette. Like, you could add Mickey Mouse into the background of an image and literally have him be just a shadow, and immediately fans would know that it's Mickey Mouse. Why? Because he has a good silhouette. He has the big, recognizable, big circle ears, which are a key, thing to him. It's his memento, I think is the right word. It's what he is known for. He's known for those big, iconic, big circular ears, which has stuck with him ever since he was created. So it's very important for a design that you have some recognizable character trait which isn't just visible using visual line art or visual colors, but rather just the actual shape itself. Like right here for Party Parrot, he has a very iconic sort of egg shape. It's a very recognizable egg, and there's wings which stick out, which kind of like create this sort of I don't know, like a winged egg, And I think that is very good for readability, because now whoever sees this image, or even watches this video, if you watch that now, all you can think of, at least I can, when I look at that shape now, is just a winged egg. And on a winged egg, that's Party Parrot World. That is Party Parrot World's design, with these two little tufts down at the bottom, which could be roller skates. You see like the little top, well, not really the top, the bottom pointy bit, that could be like little wheels, and then it's wearing little, roller skates. But your imagination can go wild. But if you remember those little small things, you can incorporate that, into your brain, and that tells you this is what that shadow is of. And there's a lot of games based off that. It's like, guess this character based off the shadow. It's I think I really like those because it's a very good testament of what is a good silhouette. Of course, you can still have a great character without a amazing silhouette. It could even be quite a bad silhouette, but it really does come down to how it actually comes across, the idea behind it, and if PALC really applies to it. But yeah, that is the conclusion of this video. I hope everyone enjoyed this video today, and I hope, I just hope you enjoy it. I've had a lot of fun filming this, and I spent all of last night planning this. I think I went to bed at about 4 a.m. Just in Fire Alpaca, creating all these slides, just trying to make a rough plan on how I can make this video as interesting as possible. So hopefully I've achieved that, and hopefully I've been quite educational and reached the other aspiring character designers out there, or people who are just intrigued, because I can finally, do something which kind of has a bit more about me, a bit more my passion and what I'm interested in, rather than just, the usual video I do. But yeah, before I start rambling, because I have a tendency to do that, I'm going to let you go. I haven't made you sign a contract. You must stay. So, yeah, this has been me, Agent Psycho. And as always, agents, have your lunch, have a good rest, stay healthy, basically, and keep an eye out.